Hello people, coming at you with another podcast on a Wednesday morning. God bless everybody. Hope everybody's on a strong vibration right now. If you're not on a high vibration, you've come to the wrong place. You need to go home. You need to up that vibration and then you can jump back on the podcast. So we're going to continue. Today, we'll be talking about technology and spirits. Now, I normally want to do these podcasts on the weekend, but if something comes to mind and something needs to be spoke about, yes, I will jump on the podcast and we'll discuss it. Technology. So what's the first thing you think of when technology comes to mind? It's probably going to be a phone. So you got to think about what a phone fucking brings to the table. The phone brings nothing but social media. Like within the social media, you've got showing off some fake culture that they push, this fake culture, and convince everybody that it's some real culture. It promotes sin, nothing but bad things on there, such as taking drugs, cheating on your wife, looking at stuff you shouldn't be looking at, many sins. And one main thing being, it is a complete waste of time. Everything that you put into that phone is a complete waste of time. That's why me, with my phone, I don't put any of my energy into social media or showing off or singing or any of that stuff, because I know that these phones and this technology come straight from the fallen angels. So you need to think, what is the phone doing? Especially when you understand who it's come from. And yeah, so what is the phone doing? It's reading your messages, it's accessing your camera, it's watching you, it's building a database of what you do, everything you do. And here's something that I'm going to bring to attention that you may not know, and probably a lot of you haven't even got the time to look into this one, but it's very simple. So you bought your phone from the store, and now you've taken it back home. You've got it out the box, and you're putting your details into it. You want to get online, and it pops up with boom, terms and conditions. Loads of pages of terms and conditions. But I bet none of you guys read that stuff. If you read that stuff, it basically tells you that you don't own this phone, we own this phone, and you must agree to it. It tells you that they're going to have access to your camera. It tells you they're going to read all your messages. It tells you they have access to everything. And if you don't agree to it, that phone won't work. So, yeah, all of these people agreed with that. So bear that in mind. But with me, you ask the question, what am I doing with the phone? I'm using the phone to do God's work. I'm using the phone to go against the fallen angels and Freemasonry. I'm here to expose them. I'm here to spread God's word on the people. What are you doing with the phone? You need to ask yourself that. Yeah. And a lot of the dummies out there, the dummies think that they brought technology so we can all be friends and we can all communicate with each other. We can just press a button and then we're speaking to somebody on the other side of this map. That's what the dummies think. But the reality is, the reason why they give us the technology is just for pure destruction and to bring us towards a new world order. And we're right there right now. We're knocking on the front door. Knock, knock, knock. So, another thing of technology they give us is the internet. There's a big red flag to give it away that you know is satanic straight from the offset. And that being the www. What do you think that equals now? That is coding 666. So before you've learned even anything, you already know that it's a satanic place. The internet brings you nothing but rubbish. Majority of the traffic on the internet is a porn, and that's the truth. And the other percentage is going to be just trash news, misinformation. And as time goes on, as you can see, the truth is getting hidden and hidden and hidden. Maybe we'll touch back on this topic in a bit further down the podcast, but it leads me on to my next point. Some more technology, what we got here. What's the kind of technology that the fallen angels and Freemasonry use on the masses? Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but there's something called HAARP. I'm pretty sure it's spelled HAARP. I may be wrong on that. But anyway, this is the technology they use to create an earthquake. And if you didn't know already, all of those things they call natural disaster, that's a joke. None of them are natural. They're all man-made, every single one. So anyway, back to the heart. They produce an earthquake by this. What they do is they make a very high frequency electric field, electric force, and they shoot it up, and it hits the top of the dome. And when it hits the top of the dome, it comes straight back down in a stronger force, and it just shakes the land. Also, with the tsunamis, a lot of the time with the tsunamis, they use a missile and they shoot it just off the coast. And yeah, that's how they do the tsunami. So now we're going back to the Freemasonry and the fallen angels. So, what do you think they're getting up to at the top of the pyramid? Just think for a second. What do you think these evil minds with all this money and all this wealth and all this power are getting up to? Killing children? Yes. Molesting children? Yes. Buying land and selling land on a large scale? Yes. Hiding land from the masses? Yes. They're doing all these wicked things. But one very big secret that they keep from the masses is the spiritual realm. They know that this place is true, and they do their best to stop you from understanding the spirit realm. That is one of their big secrets. And when these top of the pyramid come together, they are actually working within the spirit realm. And I'm not sure if you've heard of something called CERN, or a company called CERN. It's a bit of a joke because you should be concerned about that. But anyway, if you don't understand what CERN is, if you've never heard of it before, I recommend you to come off the podcast, type CERN in, have a brief little 5 minutes, look into that. I want you to look at the logo as well. Look at the logo, you can clearly see there's a 666 in the logo. So they're right in your face with it. And yeah, they are in your face with it. You go on their website, they got it all on there. There's loads of stuff on there. It's heavily coded though, but if you can decipher the code, you know exactly what they're talking about. And yeah, so what is CERN doing? Let's think about that for a minute. It's not just CERN, but CERN is the leading company for this bullshit. I'm pretty sure there's a few in America, there's a few in Europe, and they're looking to build one in China as well. But the one in Switzerland, Geneva, that CERN owns, is their largest one. And if you look at it online, it is massive. It scales miles apart. And yeah, what this is, it's an underground particle accelerator. And they also have underground tunnels in there, which go from country to country. Yeah, and there's a lot of fuckery going on down there. But anyway, so they have a particle accelerator, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically, they get atoms and they smash them together. So, to put it into other words, they get God's work and they smash it together. That is outrageous. That's complete disrespect to God's work. And the product of smashing these atoms together is antimatter. And antimatter is something that you can't see. It's in a different realm to us. And matter is what we can see. So to put it into perspective, in this realm, we have a stick of wood, right? That is matter. But antimatter would be that stick on fire. And the only way to bring it into this, or to contain it in this realm, it has to be separated. So if you don't separate it, it's basically going to be on fire. Yeah, they do have containers to store this stuff. And back to the image that I just gave you, to expand on that a little bit more. The stick that's in our realm, the matter stick, it's not a weapon. It's not considered to harm or danger life in any way. But you take that same thing and you turn it into antimatter. That stick is on fire. That stick is now dangerous. That stick can cause death. CERN and these particle accelerators are not for the masses. I've done my research. You should go do yours if you're not on the same page as me. But furthermore, to make it blatantly obvious, they've done, and I've seen them myself, they've done multiple rituals. They have done a ritual, I think the god's called Shiva. They've done a ritual outside, well, standing next to a statue of Shiva, and Shiva is the god of destruction. That was one ritual that I saw. And then I saw another ritual when they opened train tunnels that are connected to CERN. They basically showed you everything. They showed you the demonic spirits coming out. They showed you they showed you the Baphomet. They showed you blood sacrifice. They showed you the people not willing to take the vaccine go into FEMA camps. And if you didn't know already, the FEMA camps have the protocols already. All the protocols are in place. It's just for the time when they put it in place. And if you're also wondering what I'm talking about, these rituals they do, one of them was a ritual with a handful of people, and the other one I spoke about where they showed the Baphomet and the demons was a larger scale ritual, and it had lots of guests watching it. As you can imagine, the leaders of the countries were there watching it, and it was something similar to like an opening ceremony in the Olympics. Heavily satanic to the core. Now, I'm going to quote the scriptures, and you may ask, why are the scriptures relevant? Why are they important? Let me just tell you, they were wrote a very long time ago. A lot of the scriptures were also removed from the book. Majority of the ones that were removed will reveal much truth and reveal the way that God views man. So, let me quote them. The whole of the world lives under the sway of the evil one. That is John 1, chapters 5, verse 19. And as you can see from that scripture, it tells you exactly what's going on. I have another quote for you right here. For we wrestle not against the flesh and the blood, but against the rules of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That is Ephesians, chapters 6, verse 12. I may not have mentioned it, but the one main thing that gives some legitimacy for the scriptures is that it warned us about the mark of the beast. And if you're not awake and you don't realize what's going on, we're living in Revelations right now. Everything is being revealed. It's coming to an end. This is the end of times, people. Time to do something about it. The Christians and all the other religions get false teaching, for it is higher level masons that are in control of these priests and pastors and the people that run the church. It's them who is controlling it. And the Christian teaching is that if there is evil going on over there, they say don't engage in the evil. Just stay away from it and pray that it will get better. That is a false teaching. They should at least say to you, it's not like you have to go and kill a man, right? But they should at least teach you, you should challenge it. You should put a barrier, or at least throw some words out there to put a wall in between you and that wickedness. Because this is another thing they don't tell you. Words are spells, but I think they call it spelling. They're pushing this LGBT, they're pushing all this wicked stuff on us right now. And the more they mention it, the more the spell gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's time for us to cast a spell against them. Fuck them. There is a few things that need to be said about religion, but I'm pretty sure, people, we can do a podcast about that another time. Be sure to send me any messages if you want some links to these videos I've been talking about. And if you're also interested about the scriptures that I'm talking about, try your best to find the removed books of the Bible. They're called ancient Hebrew scriptures. You will find them if you look for them. We're briefly going to go back to the technology, and I'm going to speak about spirits and explain what spirits are. So most of you may be sitting there thinking, what's a spirit? Well, let me tell you now. It's not exactly a man or a person, but spirits can come in the form of a good spirit and a bad spirit. And let me just give you a few examples, like the bad ones being stuff like jealousy, lust, violence, you know what I mean? And the good spirits would be someone being trustworthy, responsible, caring and loving. So as you can see there, the spirits can possess a person. If you let these things come in by committing sin, it will only get bigger, and the power it has on you will only be stronger. And it's all on you. You are the person making the agreements. So, touching back on the technology, we've got video games right here. First of all, it's a waste of time. You could even be playing Mario Kart or fucking Crash Bandicoot. It's still satanic because you're sitting there putting your soul and your energy into fuck all, right? But then you've got the satanic games, which are like shooting people, drugs and whatever. You may not think, I'm doing it or whatever, but you're making an agreement in your mind in the spiritual realm. You're making an agreement in your mind that it's acceptable to run someone over. It's acceptable to shoot someone. It's acceptable to sleep with women, whatever it may be. And that's just in the gaming world. So you come into the real world now, and you understand how spirits work in the real world. Obviously, the games do carry over, but just to give you a more hands-on approach, it would be something like, once you make an agreement with a sin once, you're going to be forever doing that until you cancel it out. For example, masturbating. Once you confess with that sin and you say to that sin, oh, this is acceptable, I'm going to do this every day, or I'm going to do it once a week, or whatever it may be, as soon as you make that agreement with that spirit, it's got a hold of you, and it will have a hold of you until you kick it to the curb. I promise you that. Same with smoking weed, same with smoking cigarettes, same with drinking alcohol. They all bring negative spirit on you. And that's because you made the agreement with it. Until you disagree with that agreement, it's going to continue. One of my good friends, he brought to my attention, if he's listening, big up yourself, much love, brother. But he brought to my attention that the drugs that people take also possess a spirit. This is 100% true. If you look at the good spirits, they come from psychedelic drugs most of the time. Natural psychedelic drugs, they possess a very high good spirit, and most of the time it will connect you with the Father. On the other hand, we have things like alcohol, which causes destruction, and the pharmaceutical drugs that they give you, antidepressants, all these painkillers and whatever they want to give you. It's all poison. But if you take enough of that substance, for example, if you drink every day after work, or you take antidepressants every day, whatever that spirit is, you will basically become that spirit. So it's not a case of you getting angry and aggressive here and there. You'll be angry and aggressive as a person. That spirit will have you. It will have you gripped, basically. And that stuff I just spoke about, the people that make those consoles, Fallen Angels again, Freemasonry again, Xbox, 6box, satanic shit. If you look at the PlayStation logos on the fucking controller, they've got you in a box. No matter where you go, you're in a fucking box. But anyway, they know that you're making these agreements. But little did you know, you just thought you were playing a game, you fool. Continuing, here's a good image for you, and it's truth as well, my friends. On the TV, they show you the news. That is fake. And then you have NASA, which is basically kind of the news as well. Everything they show you is fake as well. But one thing they didn't tell you is that the stuff they do in the films, like Hollywood, and these fantasy films like Lord of the Rings, and there's many of them, the list goes on. They show you these demonic spirits. And they show you magic, and they show you these things. And all this stuff they show you is real. But it's not how they show it to you, you know what I mean? They show you these spirits as if it's a person, but it's not a person. It possesses you. And going back to the agreement with the spirit and possessing it, if you ever see like somebody flipping out in the street, maybe like a robber, a murderer, or a rapist, or whatever, you see someone on the street tweaking out, moving crazy, you can clearly see that they're possessed by a demon, you know what I mean? And it takes a lot to cool that person down or get them back to, you know what I mean, getting back to reality. They are possessed, basically. A lot of the people, you know what I mean, in prison, and a lot of people that even research the truth, you know what I mean? You research the truth. There's a fine line between mental health, because the truth is fucked. But back to my points. Now we're at the end of times. You got CERN working their fucking magic underground, and they're getting away with it. So they're releasing all these demonic entities and these spirits into our realm. And that's nothing but fuckery. It's going to make people violent, aggressive. People are going to suck up these spirits. And I pray for all the people that live right next to those facilities, because I've heard accounts of workers being in there, coming home having horrific nightmares. Even I watched a video on an agent talking about these warehouses, and he said that he had a lady friend who worked there, and as I mentioned earlier, there's tunnels that go from country to country, and this lady, she was a worker there. She was told that she wasn't allowed to go through the tunnels or near them or anything like that, and she had watched some people come to and from one of the countries, and the people that had come through the tunnel, she saw injuries on them that she could not describe and never seen before. You know what I mean? Some wicked stuff going on down there, people. And yeah, people, just to give you another perspective on how powerful these spirits are and how powerful your inner strength is powerful. And I think it says in the scriptures, but it's quoted somewhere. It says that the tongue has the power of life and death. And that is 100% true. And once again, it is the Freemasonry, the fallen angels that own the healthcare, and they own the medical centers. And those motherfuckers there, they'll tell you you've got cancer, and they'll also tell you have 3 weeks to live. And the power of repeating, I have 3 weeks to live, I have 3 weeks to live in my head is strong enough to kill you. And that is not a joke, people. And to put it into perspective, to give you a visualization, if you people have ever heard of a placebo, because a placebo is you saying to yourself, or it's a secret, someone's giving you something, they're giving you faith. This is what it is. You have to have faith, people. Someone gives you faith that you will be all right. When little did you know, that tablet that they gave you, or that placebo that they gave you, was nothing. And your faith brought you back to reality. Your faith brought you back to health. You know what I mean, people? That's how it works out here. You know what I mean? If you break your leg, somebody says to you, oh, you're just going to take a few months to heal. That is a negative spell that man's just put on you. You need to cancel that and say to you, listen, brother, I'm going to be right overnight. You understand? I don't need no wicked people to fix me up. You understand? I broke my leg. I'm going to get a stick. I'm going to tie it up. I'm going to fix myself. It's as simple as it is, people. Because if you go to those places, yeah, they may fix your problem temporarily. But the shit they give you is designed to give you another problem down the line. That's the truth of it, people. So we got a certain bringing this antimatter into this realm, and what you people need to understand is that everything is connected. So the more antimatter they bring in, the more spirits they bring in, it's connected. So they bring one atom in, they bring a bit of dark matter in, they're going to be bringing other shit in with that as well. You need to look at the bigger picture, people. But continuing with what I was saying about faith, we're going to just give you another visualization to understand the power of faith and the moral of the story. And we go back to the Bible again. We have the story of David and Goliath. David had an army with him. They had weapons and they had an army, and Goliath was a giant. David was a little man. He was not part of the army. He was just a little young boy. However, because he had faith, he managed to kill a giant. And that faith was the faith inside him and the faith of God as well. And look what it allowed him to do. Doesn't matter if the story is real or not. You need to take the moral away from the story. Like I said, people, these bad spirits and this bad energy is consumed by the people. And the people are the host for this bad stuff. This is not theory, the stuff I'm talking about here. You can go and do your research. I've done mine. I'll tell you about it. I've done mine. So go do yours and then come back to me before you want to talk about this and that. So anyway, people, just to wrap this up now, I'm going to wrap this podcast up. They are trying to pull all the darkness into this realm, and it will spill over. CERN has already admitted and come out with a statement saying that they have opened the bottomless pit. So, peace, people. Love and respect. I wish you all the best. I'll be back with another podcast soon. Love and respect.